Hi guys, in this video I am going to show you how to download the Archicad training template from our Moodle site and then begin working on the little batch projects that you've got in the training manuals, and you can set that up by looking and referring to page 17 of our manual. First thing to do is go to Moodle. And when you navigate to the course intro, the tab that we worked on Monday, you should have access to an Archicad training template file. And this is a file that we've kind of cleaned out from the usual one. So we're going to download that first. Just click on it and it should go to a folder. And basically I am going to drag this onto my desktop. Now there's a number of ways of opening that. I can hide Moodle now. I could just double click this and Archicad should open it up. So let's just do that. Now depending on your computer settings, you may get a browser opening up with a tip of the day. Otherwise, just press through the various dialog boxes. When you get to this one, hit Migrate Libraries. It's because this original file was done on a earlier version of Archicad, and just let the software load up, and we'll have a little chat about what you're actually looking at and how you can prepare to draw the little batch. So when it's finished opening up, you'll see this kind of digital paper. You've got some menus across the top. If you've managed to install the Cadimage tools correctly, you'll see this Cadimage pull-down menu. If you haven't managed to do it, we can still start our batch, but I would recommend you download it as soon as you can. Now, the actual template that we open up, we can check, because in the manual that you were given, it refers to an earlier version of Archicad. So we're just going to go in here and just make sure that you've got Cadimage Profile 22. That is the version of Archicad that we're using. And it just sets up some default tools and settings for us to use in this little project. The manual on page 18 talks about project data. I'm not really going to do that. I just want to get stuck into the walls and some other things I think more important. So on page 19, it chats about setting up story levels. So if you go Design, Story Settings, or as you can see here, Control 7 will do the same. It pulls up a dialog box, and really it's just a kind of structure that Archicad uses to prepare and generate different elements in each floor. So it gives you a sea level. It also gives you a ground floor, and the default is a roof. But if you have a two-story building, you can add stories above, you can insert ones below, and you can actually put in the height to next. So here, this batch, being a beach house, is very close to sea level, which is probably good enough. And you can just accept these default levels here. Don't worry about these little things. We'll talk about those later on in the course. We just go OK. Now, what Archicad does is, if you look over on the right, you've got your project map, you've got your view map and various things. So initially we're going to start drawing in the view map. So just make sure you're in the ground floor. You can double click that, and over here it tells me we're in the ground floor. And what I want to do first is draw some walls. So if you look at what Archicad tells you in the manual, you can double click on the wall tool or click it and click this one. You get the same result. It's these settings. Now, don't worry too much about some of the things in terms of having plasterboard. We'll just use the instructions the manual gives us, but in class you might be shown how to tidy things up a little bit more. So if we use the settings, the roof is fine. We want to draw it on the ground floor. We'll just use this exterior plasterboard 90. The reference line, it says core outside, so we'll go with that. Again, that's something that can be explained later, but don't panic too much about it. And then what do we want to do? We're just going to add some surface. So we'll go to, I think it's siding, light vertical. We'll do that on both. because that's what the instructions say. And then this one here called layers, we'll talk about later as well, but just make sure you're on design walls. And if you click OK, you're almost ready to go. So we click OK. But before we actually start to draw our walls, we want to draw a rectangle. So we go up to this geometry method, hold this little pop out down and go to the rectangle method. And then what we're going to do is go to this little hotspot in the template. And this is where I want to start my rectangle building. So I'm just going to click it and try not to move your mouse. Keep the little black pencil on the hotspot. Click X. Numerical keypad. Go X. 1, 0, 8, not, plus. Then Y, 5, 4, not, plus. And that gives me my basic rectangle. Now because there's an overlap, we're going to go right down inside, and Archicad chats about using guidelines and pulling things over here, but I'm going to do it a different way. I know that we want to start 1800 in here, 1800 up, so I'm just going to leave my cursor there. I'm not clicking anything because I don't want to start my wall from this point. And I'm just going to say X 1800 minus Y 1800 plus. And if I click enter now, I can start my new rectangle from this point. And I just use the dimensions in the manual. I just go X 9000 plus, and then Y 5400 plus. Go enter. And if I zoom out, you can see that we've got the shape shown on page 21. And if you remember the little command we had, we can just go press the control button and get the scissors, and we can click, get rid of the walls. If you want to see a 3D, just press F3 if you're on a Windows machine, and then we can just scroll wheel in and out, hold the shift button down, you can look around, and we've got our building started. Press F2, and basically you now have the outside walls of our building. Now to finish this little video, I'm just going to do the floor slab. So what I'll do is go to the floor slab over here, double click it to open up the settings. And if you look at the settings we have in our manual, they ask you to use one, I think it's 100mm concrete and insulation. So it doesn't matter if you don't pick the exact one, by the way, guys. Make sure you're in the right story, which is ground floor current. You can override this and make it concrete or whatever, or you can leave them off. Don't worry about these ones. And I think then the main one to check is just your layer of design floors. So if I click OK. Now they actually mention a little trick in the book, whereby I call it the kind of Harry Potter command. And what you can do is just press the space bar, and you should get your cursor changing to that magic wand. And if you go to the outside edge of the wall and hover, and then this little black line appears, just go onto it and click. And you'll think, well, nothing's actually happened. But if you go to the 3D, you'll see that we've actually created a slab. And you can zoom in and see that slab. Now, I think this video could get a little bit long, so I'm going to stop this one now, and I'm going to show you how to draw the internal walls in a video which follows after this. Thank you.